walking on a dream. How can I explain? Talking to myself. Will I see again? We are always running for the thrill of.
Okay, so the stuff that you're going to need is a cami or a tank top, depending on what style you want. You don't have to have the spaghetti straps that I went for, and it can also be in any color of your choosing. It doesn't have to be white. You can make this however you want it to be. But I chose white, and I got this at Last Chance for $2.97 today, and it's sheer, so it's gonna look really cute. Then also, obviously, you're going to need Fringe, since this is a fringe top. We have an SAS Fabrics near us, so I got this there for $2.47 a yard, and I got 3 yards, but looking at it now, I think it's just gonna be way too much. I'm not gonna need as much, but I'd rather have more than not enough. So I got it in this really nice shade of kind of like a darker purple, and I thought it was gonna look really well against the white. So I got 3 yards of that, depending on how much you're going to need. Go ahead and buy that. You can get it at Joann Fabrics or Michael's. And then you're also going to need what we like to call pyramid studs. And these were really hard for us to find. We went to Joann's and they didn't have them there. So we ended up going to Tandy Leather, which they sold them there for $4.29 for 30 of them. So I went ahead and bought 2 packs because I know I can find other things to do with them. So you're just gonna need enough to line the top of the shirt or the cami or the tank. So I think 1 pack would honestly do, but like I said, I bought 2. And then you're also going to need thread to be similar enough to match the fringe that you bought. Now looking at this color, it's not as close of a match as I would like, but there was only so much we could choose from, but I think it looks good. And then lastly, scissors to cut the fringe, and then any tools that you're going to need to apply the studs. If you guys honestly have any better ideas than I do to apply these studs, let me know, because I was having a hard time when we were practicing. So that's all you're going to need. It's really simple. If you already have a cami or leftover fringe, this is really cheap, but if not, just go out and find some cheap stuff. It doesn't have to be expensive. So stay tuned for the instructions. Okay, so the first step in making it is taking your fringe, laying it along the neckline of the cami or tank top, and cutting off probably a little bit more than needed just to be safe. So it'll make a nice clean V if you have a V-neck. So we'll just cut it about right here. So what you're going to do with this is hand sew it along the top neckline. So if you don't know how to sew or anything like that, this is really easy because I'm not really good with sewing machines. So that's why we needed the colored string. Okay, so this is the first side of the fringe done. So now we're gonna go ahead and do the other side exactly the same as you. Okay, so this is the finished first fringe layer, and it looks okay. If you want, I guess you could sew this with a sewing machine, but ours is broken, so I had to obviously do it by hand. And don't worry about how it looks here, like I said before, because we are going to cover them up with studs. And so the next part is to do another layer of fringe underneath this one so that it has the layered effect. You don't just want to go out like this. Well, I guess you could. But you're going to want to layer another thing of fringe right underneath it. and sew it like that. And you can do as many as you want until you get the crop top effect. So, okay, so I finally finished sewing on the fringe, and I ended up doing 3 layers. I thought it looked a little bit more full and complete, but if you want, you can do 2 or you can do 1, just depending on how much fringe you want. So now we're going to do the last part, and that is adding the studs. Depending on what kind of studs you're gonna buy or you're gonna get is depending on how easy it's going to be to put them in. These are actually like leather made studs, and so they're gonna be a little bit harder than if you got the ones with 4 prongs that you can just push in. So you're gonna need pliers to do this, and we're just going to do them right along the top edge of the shirt. Mine is finished. As you can tell, I did it in the V shape that the cami was in also, but if you have like a scoop neck, you can do it in a scoop neck. So this is the finished shirt. It was pretty quick to make, and it was actually quite simple. So if you're just an amateur and you don't really know how to sew like me, you can go ahead and just make an old cami look new again and look great for spring. So as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.